Shalom, we're going to read Parashat Vayyeshev near the end of Genesis, in Genesis 37. If anyone wants to raise a hand or annotate on the screen, here's how you do it. Would someone like to read the little itty bitty verse first?
Have a conversation on it. We talk about the subject of conversation.
Read it.
No? All
I'll
right.
read it.
Okay, go ahead, Jesse.
Vayyeshev Yaakov Ba'eretz Megurei Aviv Be'eretz Kana. Wait, Kanana.
Kanana?
Kanaan.
Canaan. So this is the Hebrew form of Canaan. That's why we have two A's in it. If anyone didn't know, it's because the ayin isn't represented in Greek, so we're left with Canaan. Canaan. And Vayyeshev is the word after which the whole parasha is named. It comes from what root?
Vayekto.
It is a Vayyekto. It comes from what root?
Sorry, what root? It's
Shuv. No.
Yod Shin Bet.
Yod Shin Bet, right.
Yep.
And if it were from Shin Vav Bet, there should be an U or O sound in the middle. But instead, it's Yod. That's disappeared into this vowel change here. Shin Bet Yashav to sit or dwell. Yaakov, Vayyeshev Yaakov, Jacob dwelt, Be'eretz Megurei Aviv. In the land of Megurei. What is this word?
Gar. It's to be a stranger, isn't it?
Right. Megurei. I'm not quite sure what the pattern of this word is. I'd be tempted to say that it might be a maktal pattern. But the problem with that is the ah sound is not there. Maybe the vav outvoted it. I don't know. So is it magur or what is it? I don't know. So migurei, the place of being a ger. A ger is a foreigner who lives among you. So migurei would be the place wherein someone is a stranger. Of whom? Of his father. Be'eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. All right. Who would like to read the bigger verse next? Eno, are you saying something? Do you want to read? I can't hear you.
Yes,
Oh,
I can
excuse
read.
me. I didn't know.
Yeah. אלה תולדות יעקב, יוסף בן 17 שנה היה רואה את עטיו בצאן, והוא נער את בני בליחה, ואת בני זליפה, נשי אביו, ויבא יוסף את דיברתם רעה אל אביהם.
You all remember this, right? Joseph is snot-nosed 17-year-old bringing trying to tattletale on his brothers.
Yes.
Ele toldot. These are the
generations of
Yaakov.
Of Jacob.
Yosef ben 17 shana.
Joseph was of 17 years old. He was 17 years old.
Exactly. He was a son of 17 years. He was 17 years old. Haya ro'eh.
And grazing.
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 Grazing,
He was
exactly. He was making to pasture. He was
making to pasture, his flock together with his brothers.
et echav. Good. This is not the direct object marker, is it?
It's with.
Nope.
No. If it were the direct object marker, how would it change the meaning?
He was bringing to Greece his brothers.
Yeah, he brought his brothers out to
Yeah.
graze in the field.
Yeah,
No, he's doing it with
with
batzon. So he's feeding batzon. He's causing to feed, bringing to the field, pasturing. That's the word I'm looking for. He's pasturing
pasturing.
flocks, batzon.
Why is it
Vehu
bet? I'm sorry. Why we have bet here?
It's a great question. There are certain verbs that go with certain prepositions
Okay.
to have certain meanings. And if that preposition changes, it changes the meaning of the verb. We
Yeah,
need to look
thank
no
you.
further than up. If you look up something, it's different than looking at someone.
Mhm.
Or,
Mhm.
you know,
Thank you.
vehu na'ar. Vehu
And
was a bo- it was
and the
a
boy
yeah.
Last
So
was the boy,
na'ar is a lad, but maybe biblically speaking, it's a young man of marriageable
young
age.
man, young man.
Usually, it's a young man of marriageable age. Young
Again,
single.
we have with
Et b'nei bilha. With
the sons of Bilhah
ve'et b'nei zilpa
and with the sons of Zilpah,
neshe aviv.
the wives of his father, who were the wives of his father,
Vayave Yosef.
and he brought Vayyeshev,
Right.
and Joseph brought.
Good. That tsere is pretty much the only indication we have. Context too, that this is Hephil. It's not Vayavo. It's not Kal Binyan. It has to be Hephil. He caused something to come.
To
We
come.
know
Yeah.
that because of the et. The root bo can't take an et. Because there is an et, it must be something else. It's Hephil. So
Yes.
Vayave Yosef et dibatam. I know I've looked
From
it up.
Daver, from
I've looked up the root of this word and I don't remember what it is. I thought it was either dalit bet bet or dub. Yeah, I think it was dalit bet bet because it was related to the same root as dubim, bears.
Mhm.
I'm like, why is this the same root? I don't know. It's basically a report, tattletelling, belonging to them, and it's a ra'ah, an
Mhm.
evil report, el avihem,
to his father.
to their, right? To their
Yes,
father. Mhm.
their father. Yes,
Very good.
yes.
Questions on this slide? Okay, who would like to read next?
I can read when
Go
you
ahead,
want.
Thomas, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. וישראל אהב את יוסף מכל בניו, כי בן זקונים הוא לו, ועשה לו כתונת פסים.
Very good reading. V'Yisrael ahav et Yosef mikol banav, and Israel loved Joseph,
His son.
direct object marker Joseph, mikol banav, from or compared to all of his sons or children. Did Joseph have any daughters?
We don't know.
We know he had Dinah,
Mhm.
and I think it's either at the end of Genesis or at the beginning of Exodus. There's a possibility that there were other daughters involved, but at a minimum, he definitely had Dinah. Ki ven zekunim hu lo, because a son of old age was he to him, was Joseph unto Jacob. Ve'asa lo, and he did or made for him ketonet, an outer garment, fancy outer garment. Pasim, of probably stripes, but pasim, it translates as many colors. It's not really a good translation. It's more of an interpretation. Pasim are stripes, maybe. But then again, how do you distinguish one stripe from another, except that they are different colors? So you can kind of put two and two together.
So what's a pass?
What is a pas? Pasim, pas. In modern Hebrew, it's a stripe. And as far as finding out the definition of it before modern Hebrew, that I could look that up. It would take just a second, but I could look that up. And maybe I can do that while the next person is reading. Who would like to read this one?
Shall I read that one while you're looking
Yeah,
it up?
please go ahead.
Ayarau, achav, ki, oto, achav, hem, mikol, achav, ve yeshnu, yeshnuv, no, yeshnu, sorry, oto, velo, yachlu,
ויראו אחיו, כי אותו
davru,
אהב
la shalom.
Very good. Vayiru echav. And they saw, and then they saw, that is Echav, his brothers. Ki, wait, on the previous slide it was because. Now it's something else. What possible translations can we have for ki? Just two?
Squillions.
Three at least.
Yeah.
You can have three translations. Either it's reason, because, or since, or for. Excuse me, yeah, since or for. That, which introduces some content. I know that the sky is blue. The sky is blue is the content. I want to see world peace. What do I want? To see world peace. That's the content. So I could put key in front of it. And then the third one gives us specific scenarios. If or when this or that happens, then you should do this, that, and that. Okay, so here, since we have the verb ra'ah, to see, it's probably content. His brothers saw. What did they see? What's the content of what they saw? That oto ahav avihem.
So their father loved him the most.
See how take note of the order of or what am I trying to say? The sentence structure here.
Yeah.
Oto comes first.
Yeah. So
He
was loved. He was loved.
He was loved, or rather, him loved his father.
Yeah.
It sounds weird to us, but it wants to put it first for emphasis, I guess.
So therefore, we'd say he was loved.
Yeah.
Most.
Yeah, that would change the verbal tense. Maybe it would be better to say, for it was he whom his father loved, and that way we could put the he first. Mikol echav, from all of his brothers. There's another comparative. And with the kol there, it makes it more than just comparative, makes it superlative. Mikol echav, more than all his brothers. Vayyisneu, from the root saneh, to hate. And they hated oto, him. Velo yachlu, and they were not able. Dabro, to speak of him. Leshalom, for peace or tranquility.
Peaceably.
Right. So it essentially comes out as an adverb. How could they not speak? Leshalom. The word pasim says here is from Pe Samech Samech. Pe'alim has the verb meaning to cease, to exist, or be over. Morphics in modern Hebrew has stripe, streak, strip, ribbon, band, or flowery, meaning more ancient, or antiquated, would be to cease to exist or be all gone, probably referring to how one stripe ends before the next one starts. Occurring only in the phrase pas in 2 Samuel 13:18, which probably means tunic composed of variegated stripes, according to most commentators, however. Tunic reaching to the palm and the soles. Compare the English talar, a robe reaching down to the ankles, from talaris. From talus, either case.
Oh, ankle, yeah.
Okay, so it's a outer garment, probably a beautiful one. Oh, by the way, remember, has anyone ever seen Patterns of Evidence?
No?
No.
Mm.
All right, so
Yes, yes, yes. Patterns of evidence.
there's a Thinking Man films by Mahoney, I think his name is.
Yes.
And he came up with, I think it's up to four, it may be more, four movies called Patterns of Evidence. And one of them is about um, Semites existing in Egypt
Ah, I saw
during
it. Yeah.
the time period that the Bible says that the Israelites should have been there, and searching for evidence that Joseph and his brothers existed. And he comes to the conclusion that he found Joseph's tomb before his bones were moved to the land of Israel. Because the tomb was robbed, but it was robbed of bones. Who robs a tomb of bones? It doesn't make any sense. Robbers usually come for the gold. Anyway, if it is Joseph, it actually has him very lightly painted, meaning it's so old most of the paint is worn away, or faded, but it shows colorful stripes. So maybe. At any rate, I highly recommend all of the Pattern of Evidence films. They are fascinating. One is about the literacy of Moses. One is about the location of Mount Sinai. One is about, oh, yeah, one is about,
Oh, wait a minute. I think I have seen some of those.
yeah, it's been a while, I guess, but it's a great watch, and it'll probably build your faith. Because if you ask a scholar, he'll say there's just no evidence that the Israelites were ever in Egypt during the time period that we expect to find them. But if you dig a little bit deeper, all of a sudden there's tons of evidence. Well, then let's put two and two together. That's the premise of the movie, anyway. All right, next verse. Who would like to read it? Or we can just gaze into each other's eyes.
I can.
Okay, Thomas, go ahead.
One.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Eileen wants
Wait,
to.
wait, okay, wait.
Eileen, go ahead, please.
Okay. Vayyeshev Yosef Haleotem.
Shalom.
Oh, Halom.
Mhm.
Sorry. Veigal
Vayaged.
Get Le Havi.
Here, don't pronounce the yod. Le'echav.
Oh, Lehav. Ve Vai Vai Tosefu
Vayosifu.
Tu Odo
Od.
Od
Od.
Od Shem Na
Sno.
or Shem O.
Well, it's a sin, not a shin. Sno.
Oh, Sano
Mm-hmm.
Oto.
Very good. Vayachalom Yosef Chalom. Vayaged le'echav vayosifu od sno oto. Well, of course. He dreams a dream, Joseph does, and he tells his brothers, and they added, or they did again, they continued, od, still more, snow, to hate, oto, him. Of course, after you hear the dream, if you were one of the brothers, who knows, maybe you would have done the same thing.
A question.
Question.
Can I snow? What form it is?
Snow is an infinitive construct.
Infinitive.
If there were a li in front of it, it would look more
Oh.
familiar. Li snow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Would the Li make it absolute?
Well, absolutes cannot take a preposition. So if there's a preposition, then categorically no. The absolute form will also have a long as sound. So sa no would be the absolute form.
Okay.
And its usage would be essentially to add emphasis, like hating, they hated, or certainly they hated, or very much so they hated.
Okay.
Ashlyn, do you have your hand up to read or a question?
I have my hand up to read.
All right, here you go.
Vayomer al or alehem shimu na hachalom hazah or hazeh
Mhm.
esher halamti.
Halamti. On this first word, can you put the stress on the yod?
Vayomer.
Vayomer. It sounded, I don't know, maybe I was wrong, but it sounded like it was more on final stress. Vayomer. Make it Vayomer. And he said, Alehem, unto them, Shim'una. This is an imperative form. The chirik with the u at the end says it's an imperative to you all. Listen, if you would please. Hachalom hazeh. The dream, this one. Asher chalamti. That I dreamed. And why is there a kamatz here instead of a patach?
To do with the end of the
Very good.
sentence.
End of the phrase, end of the
Right.
sentence, end of the verse, and it's called pausal. Chalamti. And everyone in the synagogue, when they hear chalamti with that long vowel, would go, "Oh, that's the end of a logical unit."
Mm.
All right, next reader, Konstantin. Do you want to read?
I've been reading out loud. I didn't realize my mic was open.
Oh, I
So-
didn't know. I didn't hear you. You're fine.
Good. Vene
Vahine.
al an anhenu
Anachnu.
meale me
Wait, what is this?
me me
Mim. Right. Me'alamim.
mealemim alu meme.
Don't those two words sound similar?
Yes, they have meme endings.
This one is the participle and this one is the noun. We were binding bindings, or we were binding sheaves. Keep going.
Bet ok
Betoch.
hasa Day.
Asadeh.
Vehine kama elumati.
Make this more ah instead of eh. Alumati.
Alumati. Vegam needs ba
Nitzava. The stress moved to right here, another pausal form. Nitzava. You're doing well.
Vehine Vehine
Vehine.
te sukeina.
Does a cough have a bitty little bump? Or is it a bet?
That's a coup.
Ah,
Te
let's see if
coup.
we can find a cough. Here's a cough, and here's a bet. So they are similar, but there's no little bitty bump out right here. There is over there. Bet.
Oh, yeah. Te coup bay nu.
All right, now you've made the samech a cough sound. So
Te su bay nu.
bena. Very
Yeah.
good. Tisu bena.
Alumi te alumo te came.
Very good.
What are the two dots on top of the coup?
On top of the cough are two dots, which are the cantillation mark. So they tell you multiple things like where to put the stress, but also that there's a bit of a pause right here. Alumotechem.
Okay. Vat she ta ha ni.
Oh, it's getting
Nah.
really crowded under here. I'm so
Wait.
sorry. It's hard to read.
Yes.
Vatish tacha vena.
No.
Vatish tachavena.
Thank you. La a lu ma ti.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Now, there's a lot to cover in this verse. Let's read it through one more time. Follow along with me if you'd like. V'hine anachnu me'almim alumim betoch hasadeh. There's another set of dots right there, and we just came to the end of a logical unit. So there's a pause. V'hine kama alumati v'gam nitzava. Now, this symbol here is an even bigger pause. What I'm drawing here is basically a backwards comma. Vehine tisubena alumotechem vatishtachavena la'alumati. Blah, 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 blah. La'alumati. And then there's the end of the verse, biggest pause that you can have in a verse. Trying to figure out what I want to do first. Okay, what is the... Oh, wow, that's a difficult one. I'd hate to start with that. Okay, don't do that. What is the root of tesubena?
It's Savi, is it? No, it's, what's it?
Saviv?
Yeah, somebody, bet.
Yeah, samich bet bet, to go around, whether it's savav, saviv, misubal, no, what would that be? Misovev. There are lots of words. And in fact, today I was teaching a class about svivon, the top that you spin when playing dreidel. Yeah, exactly. That's from the German drehen, to spin, whereas in Hebrew,
Drehen to pull. Drehen to pull.
Ah,
Drehen's pulling, isn't it, Thomas?
What?
What is the
Drain
German word for
again is
thinning?
to pull.
What German word for what?
Drehen in German
Oh,
means to pull.
Dreidel in English.
No,
okay.
dreidel is different, but drehen is to pull.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know. Drehen.
Yeah,
Drehen. To turn around or what? Circling or?
or to pull,
Oh, I don't know.
or is that
Is it Zavav? Zavav?
yeah, savav,
All right.
that's to go round, yes, to go round, yes.
All right, so
Anyway.
here we have tisubena, tav at the front and na at the end says that it's feminine plural, either you or they.
Yeah.
And so here it's probably they referring to the alumim that belong to you. Wait a second. What's the plural of alum?
alumot.
Alum. Oh, it should be
Alumim.
It should be alumot, shouldn't it?
Alumim.
Alumei. Ach, cool.
Alumotechem. Alumoter.
Does everyone see what I'm getting at? Here it's alumim.
Irregular. Yeah.
Well,
Also,
it's not just that it's irregular. It's that we have two different plural forms.
Yeah.
There's a plural form in the absolute.
Mhm.
And there's a different plural form when it's got a suffix.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it alumim or is it alumot? It's both.
Oh.
Let me ask you a question. The word shana, what does it mean?
Week.
Year.
Year.
A year.
Year.
What's the plural?
Shanim.
Shanim or Shanot?
Or shanim.
It's okay, so the standalone plural is shanim. But if it's in construct and you say the years of a king, then it could be either shnei or shnot. Shnot is probably the more original form. Shnot hamelech would be the years of the king. So here is a similar case where we have both shanim and shnot. There's one more example. You guys want it?
Yeah, go for it.
Milah.
Yes.
Milah.
Milah.
The word milah in modern Hebrew. It's not malay.
Oh, sorry.
Word. Good. So milah comes from probably more an Aramaic root, but it does mean word. A milah. The plural is irregular.
Milim.
Milim. But if you're talking about words of something, like a preposition would be milat yachas, a word of connection. What if I said prepositions? It would be milot yachas. So that this other word over here doesn't really matter, but milot is the point. There are certain words that will look different in construct in the plural than they do standalone absolute. So here you have examples of it. And
can I ask a question here, Jared? Because it was on my mind to ask this question before. When you have an irregular feminine like shanim, is it normal to say shane? Is it normal to say shane in construct? Or like how often does it revert back to the OT to show that it's feminine in construct?
well, that's a good question, and I think I have the ability to look it up right here. Let's see. It should be. Let me find the word shana first. And that would be shana. Hopefully a year. All right. So over here we have roughly the number of times that it shows up in the Bible. So let's look for just this number 8141. Come on, where am I going? There. Okay, so here are all the different forms, right? Lots and lots of them. And now what I want to find is shnot versus shnei. So I'm going to type in first shnei. And this one shows up about 19 times. Okay, let's remember that number. Now let's go over here.
Schnot.
And this shows up 7 times. So somewhat comparable. It's not like it's lopsided. It's too terribly lopsided. So schnot does show up plenty of times, 7 times in the Bible. So which one is more correct? The Bible's inerrant, so they must both be correct. So that's a cool little tool that I put together to help find things in the Bible. What is the word kama?
Kum.
3 and P.
Kum, to
Okay,
arise.
comes from the root kum, which means to arise or rise up. Actually, excuse me, it's rise, not arise. I think arise is only used for intangibles, like the thought would arise, or I think. Anyway, this is an English class. So it's from the root kum, and what form is it?
Katal.
3 and P.
Is it
3 and
katal?
S.
Is it katal, or is it a participle?
Can be, but is a katal in the first view. Right.
So the katal
Shia.
form 3 fs would be kama, and the participle
Is kama.
in
not.
the feminine singular would be the same,
Oh, the same. Oh.
with one significant difference.
The stress.
The stress.
Ah.
So here we are looking at a katal. She arose, whereas if the stress were over here, then it would be something like she was rising. That's the only difference. Alumati, the sheaf that belongs to me. Ooh, now that we get to see the singular form of alumati, is the word feminine or masculine? Singular is going to be a lot more reliable when trying to determine the gender of a word.
Feminine.
Of course it's feminine. You guys just told me it was feminine from kama. Kama is feminine, but the singular form aluma, or in the construct alumat, indicates that we have a feminine tav. It must be feminine. And the verb here confirms it. So alumim is an irregular plural. Bekam nitzava. Here's another feminine verb to confirm it. Nitzava. Why is it? What's going on here? Why is it? Why is the stress right there?
Also,
Yes.
Exactly. And what's the root? What's the form?
Tzava.
It's yeah.
Everyone's saying tzava.
Yeah, yod, sade,
Yod or noon, either one. Yod or noon, tzadi bet. And the noon?
Yikto?
Nifal.
Nifal. Very good. Nifal. Ia. And then the hay is 3fs. Katal.
Yes.
Very good. So she was standing upright. Or she stood upright.
Tzava is with Aleph, yes? Tzava?
If you're talking about an army, that's a tzava, like Adonai Tzevaot, Lord of Hosts. That would be this one.
Yes, but it's not
Does anybody know the word? This word right here?
Well, that's it's military or something in modern Hebrew.
Tzava is military.
Oh, sorry.
Is that color? Is that color
Yeah.
too?
Tzeva is color.
Color.
Yeah, colors. Vehine tisubena, and behold, They, feminine, were Savav was the root.
Okay.
Tisubena. What form is that? I guess with the shva here, it has to be pu'al.
Yeah.
They were surrounding. They were being stood around. I don't know. Some sort of a passive. Alumotechem. Your sheaves were positioned about. Maybe. Vatishtachavena. Tav at the front, na at the end. It's a feminine plural. Va at the front makes it vayiktol. What about the rest?
The vav, the third.
What's the question?
What we're trying to do is just
And the
parse
root.
out the verb. So we need a root and binyan maybe.
Yikton.
So we say shin.
Vayiktol.
Vayiktol, because the
Yes.
Shin het.
Vayiktol.
Vav.
Tuesday, what did you want to say?
The root is a tet, het, vav.
Tet? I don't see a tet.
No.
Eh?
Tav, sorry, tav, het, vav.
Afraid not.
No.
Not.
Shin, het, vav.
All right, so
There is a tab
Sarah
with a
says it's
dagesh.
shin, het, vav.
Yes, shin.
Yod is part of the root too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid.
Mm.
This is a 4-letter root. There are some 4-letter roots, but this is also a very strange verb that the grammars will just tell you, you know what? It belongs to another binyan that we'll call hishtafel.
Sorry?
What's happening here is maybe the original root was het vav yod. In other Semitic languages, the he-feel causative has a shin on the front. And Hebrew borrowed that form as a loan word and then shoved it into the hit pa'el.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the hit pa'el does have a strong dagesh in the second root letter, right? Which means you could theoretically, instead of having a strong dagesh, you could theoretically have 4 letters instead of a doubled second letter. And that's exactly what happens here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The tav and sheen swap. It's not batit shachavena, because if you say that quickly, the tav gets swallowed up. Cha. Where's the T? Got lost. So swap it, and then you can hear it. Hishta. Does anyone know any other words that do this, where it swaps the first root letter in the he feel?
Lehishtamesh.
Lehishtamesh. Shemesh is to make use of some. Shemesh is to serve. So hishtamesh is to make use of something, to use it. Any others? Shemen is oil. What do you think hishtamen means?
To
become
smear
fat.
it.
To become fat. Let's see.
Hishtamanti, yeah.
Hishtamanti. And this will happen with more than just.
What you're saying, actually. Could you write it down?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
of course. Sure. So what I'm getting at is that the letters shin, sin, samech will swap with the tav.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's the first root letter.
Yes.
So, for example, hishtamen or hishtamanti from shemen means I became shaman or shamen. I became fat. It also happens, however, with zayin and with tzadi, but there the tav changes out to a different letter. No longer is it tav, it turns to dalet.
Dalet. Oh, yeah.
So if zaken means old, then hizdakanti means I became old.
Good.
The tzadi will cause the tav to change out for a tet. Now here we do have a tet, and that's what changes around, like hitztarech or ani mitztaer, right? Mitztaer means I'm sorry. Or hitztarech means to make or have need of something. So all of these are follow the same general principle, but these two are kind of oddballs because they make the tav change to a different letter. So anytime you have a first root letter that's one of these, then expect that phenomenon. I think it's called metathesis.
Could you say that again, please? That's
the
called
the principle is metathesis. Like if someone's cancer gets out of hand, I think it's the same word.
Yeah.
Metathesize,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. But in grammar, it means to flip the two letters.
Yes, it takes extra. It makes new letters and makes new ones.
Oh, that makes more sense. Meta thesis, making new ones. Oh, okay. Making new ones beside. Huh. All right.
Well, the thesis is definitely making, and the meta is probably something like that.
With or next to, alongside of. So that's a real oddball, but it's also a very common verb in the Bible, so it's a good one to know. The lexical form is hishtachave. So it has multiple weird things about it. It's a 4-letter root. It's it's got the swapping shin and tav. And it's also a final yod verb with a vowel hey here on the end. So I can't call it third letter or lamed yod because it's got 4 root letters. But the point is it still belongs to the same category as lamed yod verbs.
Can you review the hey yod transition there? So what?
The hey yod transition? What do you mean, lamed yod?
Well, at the end of the word, we replace the yod we replace the hey with the yod, right?
All right. So in there are several forms in the katal and a couple of them in the yiktol where a lamed yod verb will display its original yod. Think of a simpler verb like bana, he built.
Yeah. Okay.
If I built it, it would be baniti. Here's your original yod. Whereas in the 3ms form, the yod was at the end. It got lopped off because it was too hard to pronounce. And now we just have this vestige hey that's left. So in this form, we don't get to see the yod. Ergo, it is a weak root. A weak root by definition has a missing root letter, right? But over in this form, baniti, I built, the yod shows up. Yay! So here in the tishtachavena, the yod presents, but in the lexical form, the 3ms, it doesn't. And that's frustrating. And that's why so many people still say lamed hey instead of lamed yod. No, it's not a lamed hey. Gavah, that's a lamed hey with a consonantal hey at the end. Does that answer your question, Tim?
Yes.
Super.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Any questions on this verse before we move on?
The challenge is recognizing those as they come up because, like you said, it's not common, right?
Lamed yods are very common. What do you mean?
Are they? Are they? Okay.
Yeah. There are a lot. I mean, if we're talking irregular roots, lamed yod is definitely going to be a common one. Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime you see a word ending with either a segel hey or a tzere hey or a verb ending in kamatz hey, there's a good chance that it's a lamed yod verb.
Okay.
There are a lot of them. All right. Who would like to read next?
I can read.
All right. Go ahead, Thomas.
Okay. ויאמרו לו אחיו המלוך תמלוך עלינו עם משול, doch, yes, משול תמשול בנו ויוזיפו עוד שנוא אותו על חלומותיו ועל דבריו.
Good reading, yeah. Vayomeru lo echav, and they said to him, that is, his brothers did, Hamaloch timloch alenu. Pause. Im mashol timshol banu. Pause. Vayosifu od sno oto al chalomotav ve'al devarav. Full stop. Yeah. All right. Earlier we saw infinitive constructs. What are these?
Absolute.
Absolutely. What about this one over here?
In
Artist.
Well, that's the same one as earlier.
Yeah.
Absolute.
No, if it's an absolute, there has
imperative.
to be amatz.
Imperative.
If there's a shva, think of lisno, to hate. So it is an infinitive. It's just an infinitive construct, which just
There we go.
means that it can take a suffix or a preposition in the front, or
Okay.
not. It could just be standalone like this one, snow. But the full kamatz drops to a shva. That's essentially the difference. What's the ha at the beginning?
Interrogative.
Interrogative. Question. Reigning, you shall reign over us. Whether
You really?
exactly. So because of the repetition here, we could either, if you look, when you're reading this in Hebrew, it just repeats it and it kind of irks you. It's like, oh wow, they're putting extra emphasis on it. Hamaloch timloch, reigning you shall reign. And we can translate it as really, actually, certainly over us. Im, whether mashol timshol banu, you will govern or have dominion certainly among us or over us. And here's another example of how certain verbs get certain preposition, or else it changes the meaning of the verb. Vayyosifu, and they added still more to hate him. I guess so. Al chalomotav, concerning his dreams, ve'al devarav, and concerning his words. Okay, next reader.
Shall I have a shot?
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Okay. Holom. Od halom. Acher. Yeah. Vai safer. Per. Otto. Echav.
Le'echav.
Vayomer hene halamti halom od vehine shemesh hashemesh hayrea
Hayareach.
Hayerea. So, yes, didn't recognize it like that. Hayerea. Ve Echad. Achad. Achad. Aser. Asar. Kochavim. Mishtachevim. Li.
Very good.
Li.
There's that verb again, this time in a different form. Let me read through one time. Follow along, please, everyone. Vayachalom od chalom acher. Vayisaper oto le'echav. Vayomer, hine chalamti chalom od, והנה השמש והירח, ו11 כוכבים משתחווים לי. Woo.
That's a mouthful.
And he dreamed. Od, again. Chalom acher, a dream, another one. What part of speech is acher?
It's a preposition.
An adjective.
An adjective.
No.
It's an adjective.
Preposition.
Isn't it modifying? Well, there's a preposition like acharei,
An adjective.
Adverb.
No, it's
but if it's
adverb.
modifying okay, hang on. So we're getting a lot of answers here. An adjective modifies a noun. So it tells something more about the noun. So it's saying this dream is another. Much like you could say the dream is new, or the dream is blue, or the dream is something else, an adjective. As a preposition, it would have to be acharei. Then it means it's after or following something else. An adverb, somebody said adverb. An adverb describes how something is done. Like quickly would be an adverb. Or to one another. It could be an adverbial phrase. Vayisaper oto, and he recounted. Direct object marker it, him, the dream. Le'echav, unto or to his brothers. There we go. Vayomer, and he said, so now we get to hear the dream. Hine chalamti, behold, I dreamed, chalom od. Behold, I dreamed a dream, od. What part of speech is od?
The same as acher.
Adverb.
No.
It does come after the word halom, but that doesn't automatically make it an adjective. Here, I think it's
Adverb.
saying how, or to what extent, or right. Adverbs are going to be when, where, why, how, to what extent, or something like that. So here, doing it again talks about extent. It would be an adverb. Now, to be fair, most adverbs in Hebrew come from nouns. And it's just used in a way that it must be adverbial. Even in English, we didn't really have adverbs per se, so we added the word like afterward. So if you do it quick like, then you turn the adjective quick into an adverb, quick like, and evidently that was too hard to say, so it turned into li. Quickly. But it was originally quick like. So even in Hebrew, we see this, we see multiple ways of inventing, I'll use the word inventing, adverbs and adverbial phrases. At a minimum, I think there are 4 different ways in Hebrew that you can make adverbs. But by and large, they're mostly nouns or coming from nouns, or they're prepositional phrases. But here I would agree that it's that it's adverbial. How did he do it? He did it again. V'hinei hashemesh, and behold the hot ball in the sky. V'hayareach, and the moon.
Mhm.
V'achadasar kochavim. Wait,
11.
is this
11.
masculine or feminine?
It's
Masculine.
going to be
Masculine.
June.
Masculine.
But I thought it was echad.
Mhm.
It's at the
My heart is feminine.
Feminine form.
All right, so it is masculine because there's a dalet. But the reason it changed from this vowel pointing to that vowel pointing has to do with construct. This one's absolute, standalone, echad. This one's in construct. 110 or one of, I can't say of, but when you have echad in construct, it becomes ahad. So apparently that's what the voice wanted to say there. Ahadasal. And that, in fact, that's the present day number for 11 in the masculine.
Mhm.
What then is the feminine form of 11?
Patisre.
Uh-huh.
Echad, eser.
Ahat.
Esre.
Esre, Esre, yes.
Exactly. Achatesre. Achatesre. Achadasar is the masculine. Kochavim is masculine, so we're using the masculine. 11 stars. Mishtachavim li. Now, they don't have to be deaf. They don't need to light a candle to see the sun here.
Mhm.
The sun and the moon represent parents. 11 stars must represent the 11 brothers. Mishtachavim li. Okay, so we saw the verb tishtachavena. What's the difference between that and this one?
It's a participle.
Yeah, mem at the front is a participle, and the im at the end.
Plural.
I'm actually not going to circle the yod there
plural.
because I'm not sure if it should be this or if it should be this without and it's spelled defectively. I don't know. It's probably supposed to be all of this. Im is masculine plural. So those 11 stars were bowing down. Li, to me. Did you know that there was a false god named Shemesh? There was a false god named Yareach. But then again, there was a false god named Yam. Pretty sure there was a false god named, well, actually, there's a lot more of them than people would care to admit. And so isn't it ironic that Samson, his parents named him Shimshon?
Shemesh.
Hammer.
Little Shemesh.
Mhm.
Yeah. So could you imagine some false deity like I don't know, pick one, Dagon. What if you called him Dagnon, a little Dagon? It's like,
My
oh
Dagon kid.
gosh, Dagon kid, right?
That was today.
And yet God was able to use him. All right. Who would like to read next?
I'll try.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay. ויספר אל אביו ואל אחיו ויגר בו אביו ויאמר לו מה החלום הזה אשר חלמת? הבוא נבוא אני ועמך ועמך ואחיך להשתחוות לך ארצה.
That's right, ארצה. ויספר אל אביו ואל אחיו. He told to or unto his father and his brothers. Vayig'ar bo, and he rebuked at him. Aviv, his father did. Vayomer lo, and he said to him, Ma hachalom hazeh, what is the dream, this one? Asher halamta, that you dreamed. Havonavo, We'll come back to that. Ani ve'imcha ve'achecha lehishtachavot lecha arza. How do I know all this is a question?
Ma.
Okay, so we do get a ma right here,
Mm-hmm.
And then the ha.
and then the ha.
Mhm.
Ah, yes.
Maha.
All right, what part of speech is bo?
It's third person masculine.
Third
What's
masculine.
verb.
Katal third masculine would be ba, he went, or
Okay.
the participle would be ba, he is coming, identical.
so?
But here it's bo.
Again, we have infinitive, I think.
I agree. I think it's an infinitive. Now, just as an exercise, what else could bo be besides an infinitive?
A participle.
No, participles over here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Participles there.
Mm.
Infinitive.
Future.
Infinitive is correct, but what else could it be besides infinitive?
Future. Is it?
Not future. You would need some sort of yictal
Yes.
prefix like yavo.
Ah,
So what can bo be? Actually, you're really close.
Huh?
What's
Imperative.
tavo?
That's
That's a
Imperative.
yictal. It's a
Yeah,
yictal.
you
Now,
told.
if you take off the tav, what is it?
Imperative.
yes.
Imperative.
Imperative.
There you go.
imperative.
So bo can
Yes.
be a masculine singular imperative,
Mm.
or it can be an infinitive.
Mhm.
And here it's an infinitive because it's repeated.
Yes,
That's
with
what
the
I-
absolute
Must be
infinitive.
that in absolute infinitive. Bo navo, coming we shall come. Ani
Surely come.
imcha, I and your mother. Remember, his mother has died by now.
Mhm.
So who is who to whom is he referring? His other stepmoms, maybe?
Yes, I
Maybe
think so.
maybe Rachel's
Leah?
maidservant. Which one was Rachel's maidservant? Bilhah or
Yes,
Zilpah?
both of them were.
No, one
Bilha?
was Leah and one
Wasn't
was
it
Bilha.
Bilha?
thought it was Bilhah. Okay. So maybe that one is the one who represents the mother now that her dear mother has already passed. Um, but otherwise, some people look at this as a form of prophesying resurrection in the Torah. In case you all didn't know, the Torah doesn't speak explicitly about resurrection. In fact, it was a hot topic in the first century and probably before the first century. And that's why you get the Pharisees versus the Sadducees. The Sadducees don't believe in resurrection because they only read the Torah, and Torah doesn't say anything about resurrection. But Pharisees believe in angels and demons, resurrection, all those other things. It was a hot topic, so much so that in Talmud, the rabbis, who are all Pharisees, because the Sadducees all died off with at the destruction of the temple, they say in the Talmud, those who don't have a share in the world to come are all of those who reject the resurrection. Sadducees. The Pharisees have a polemic against the Sadducees. But even in New Testament, remember there was a question about the resurrection in the Torah. How did Yeshua answer it? This exact debate shows up in the New Testament.
Yes, there was this debate, and
I
he
am
was
the
telling them,
God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Mhm.
God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. He didn't say I am or I was the God of, but rather I am the God of, meaning he still is the God of. How? They're dead. Resurrection. So Yeshua used that verse as a proof for resurrection. Some people turn to this verse as a proof for resurrection. I don't know. There's a handful of others, but they're all equally nebulous, I guess. But then again, the later prophets can't say what the Torah hasn't already said. Otherwise, it's saying something new, and you can't add anything new to Torah. So, with that in mind, the Pharisees said the Torah has to say something about resurrection, and then they go hunting for verses to find a proof text. Kind of cool to see how that works. So your I and your mother and your brothers lehishtachavot, to bow down, lecha arza.
Also.
This is directional.
Directional towards the earth. Very good. Oh, what a cute little verse. Sorry, did anyone have any questions? Who wants to read this cute little verse?
Can I read it?
Go ahead, Eileen.
Vaikana'u
Vaikana'u.
Vo Avein
Echav.
Echav.
Mhm.
Echav. Ve Ve'avin
Ve'aviv.
Ve'aviv
Shamar.
Shamar et Ahadiver.
Hadavar.
Hadavar.
So Joseph just said something. His father rebuked him for saying, mom and dad and brothers are going to bow down to him. Little snot-nosed 17-year-old. But Vayikneuvo, his brothers envied him. Ve'aviv shamar et hadavar. And, well, I don't know. It feels like a contrast. Let's call it, but, however, his father kept the word, the matter, the saying. Probably meant something to him.
And again, kana'u bo, that again is this kind of a preposition specific.
Oh, sure, yeah, bet. So they envied in or at him. So in Hebrew, you say you envy at somebody, whereas in English, you don't. That's okay. Each language has its own prepositional convention when it comes to verbs. All right. Vayomer Yisrael. Now all of a sudden Jacob's name changes back to Yisrael. Vayomer Yisrael, and Israel said, El Yosef, to Joseph, Halo achecha ro'im. Question, not your brothers are pasturing? B'Shechem. Shechem is Shechem. In Shechem, lecha ve'eshlachacha, go or walk, and I will send you, alehem, unto them. Vayomer lo, and he said to him, Hineni, behold me, here I am. What is the root of ro'im?
Rea.
Resh ein yod. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Ra'ah, he pastured. Ro'eh, one who pastures or a shepherd.
Adonai Ro'i.
Very good. Adonai Ro'i, the one seeing me. So it's this Ro'eh with a hirik yod suffix. Adonai Ro'i. Ve'eshlachacha, and I will. Yeah, that one's easy. Okay. All right. Who wants to read next?
I will.
I had a question
What's
about
your question?
the last slide.
Okay. This one?
Lecha.
Mhm.
Is that imperative? I mean, it's halach, right?
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
lamet.
Okay.
Huh?
Halach. That's our katal lexical form, right? 3ms. And the imperative is
I guess it's lamet kaf.
that's it. The imperative is lech. And
Lech.
this is the lech that we get to see in the Torah portion. Lech lecha. Go for yourself. Lecha meaning for yourself. Lech,
So the
imperative.
hey at the end is what is that? What is that? The hey at the end
Anyone? What's
is
the
that the
hey?
one for you,
Yeah, it's
for
either
yourself?
exact. Well, it's the grammars call it a paragogic. Hey, I call it more like a volative. Excuse me. I guess that's not true. It is a paragogic hey, but the meaning of it is either towards me or for my benefit.
Okay.
So lecha, I'm sending you to go, but ultimately it's for my benefit so that I know the rest of my boys are okay. So this is for my benefit.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, who is it that said they wanted to read next?
I will.
Okay, go ahead, Jesse.
Vayomer lo
No,
lech.
where do you put the stress in that first word?
Vayomer
There it is.
lo lech na re'e et shalom achecha ve'et shalom hatzon v'hashveni davar ve'yishlachehu me'e- me'emek ha'chevron vayavo shechema.
Very good. Vayomer lo, and he said to him, Lechna. Next to what kind of words will we find the word na?
After imperatives.
Imperative.
Imperatives is one of three options.
Joseph.
Possessive
Cohortative.
and cohortative. So all three of those collectively are known as the volatives, showing volition or will. So na is next to an imperative here. Good. Lechna, go, I pray. Re'e et shlom achecha. Here's another imperative. See the well-being of your brothers. Ve'et shlom hatzon, and the well-being of the flock. Vahashiveni davar. What kind of word is this? Parse it out.
It's a he feel. Lehashiv.
Okay, so because of the hey and the chirik, we know it's hifil. From the root shuv. What's this stuff at the end?
It's pronominal suffix.
First common.
Me.
Me. Right.
Me.
So it's got a 1cs suffix. And why does this va have a patach?
Guttural. Va.
Can't have two shavas in a row.
Because you can't have two shvas in a row. So it fixed the first one to a full vowel that harmonizes with the reduced vowel of the hey. Vahashiveni, and you shall return to me, davar, word. Vayishlachehu, and he sent him, and then he sent him, me'emek Chevron, from the valley of Chevron, vayavo Shchem. There's another directional Shchem word towards Shchem. And then that's where everything went south. Well, actually, he was going north, but you know what I mean. Next reader.
I can read. Oh,
Ina, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. וימצאו איש, והנה טועה בשדה, וישאלהו האיש לאמור, מה תבקש?
Very good. Vayimtsaehu ish. And then he found him, that is, some man found him, Joseph, vehine to'eh. And behold,
he was going around, wandering. He was
erring. He was wandering.
erring.
He was making mistake. In modern Hebrew, a ta'ut is a mistake. You're wandering the wrong direction.
This is the participle ta'et,
To'eh.
right?
He was exactly. It's a participle. Basadeh. He was wondering. It makes you think of him just going round and round in a circle, like, oh, come on, Joseph. He made a mistake. He was in a field. He shouldn't have been there. And some man, unnamed, finds him. Vayish alehu ha'ish.
And asks this. And the man asked.
Right. And
him,
he, the man, asked him, Joseph, lemor, saying, Ma tevakesh.
what are you looking for? What are you
seek? What are you looking for? Is this a strong or weak dagesh?
This is a weak dagesh. Tevakesh.
I wouldn't ask unless I had something to say about it. What's the stuff that fell down from the sky? The bread that came from heaven?
It's following a vowel, so it can't be a weak dagesh.
Because it's following a vowel, it makes you wonder, what's the stuff? What's the bread from heaven called?
Manna.
Okay, so in the Bible, it's called man.
Yeah.
In the Greek, it's called manna. So maybe there was a case ending under the nun that eventually fell off, but man is translated as what bread? What? That's right. Man is the original form that turns into ma.
Respectively, nun is incorporated in the.
Very good. So when the next letter is not a guttural, the nun has assimilated into it. Mantivakesh becomes mativakesh. It's a strong dagesh.
So it is strong.
Oh, yeah. But if the following letter is a guttural, then it can't assimilate, so it'll do something else. Either it will lengthen this back, or it'll just virtually double. But yes, there does appear to be a missing nun.
So if you parse that into syllables like you like to do, you would say mat tivakesh.
Yeah, I wouldn't repeat the tav sound, but yes, I would divide through the strong dagesh per usual. Absolutely. Mat tivakesh.
Yes.
And what did this nice man that remains unnamed say to him? I'm sorry, that's not true. What did Joseph say to the nice man that remains unnamed? Who wants to read?
Vayomer et ahi
Achai.
Anuhi mekomesh
Mivakesh.
mevakesh tegilah
Hagidana.
agindana
Mhm.
na lo
Li.
li e pe Epe,
Efo. There's an O right there.
F, ha, he, him,
Mhm.
re'im.
Ro'im.
Oh, ro'im.
Vayomer et achai anochi mevakesh. And he said or answered, he said, my brothers, I am seeking. Hagidana, tell me if you would please. Li efohem ro'im, where they are feeding, where are they pasturing. You can see another strong dagesh over here in Hagidana. I'm afraid I cannot explain exactly what's going on here, but I know that Semitic languages had a lot of particles that affixed on to words, like the interrogative hey was probably some sort of a particle. The definite article hey was some sort of a particle. Oops, I put my peak in. I didn't mean to do that. It goes afterward. Particles like hal or han or what were some other ones? I don't think hum was one of them. So it makes me wonder if there was some sort of a particle at the end of this word that gets attached onto it and the consonant assimilates into the following letter. I don't know, but something went missing. It'd be interesting to know. If somebody ever finds out, let me know. Ephohem ro'im, where are they feeding? All right, I think we have time for just one more verse. Who wants to read the last verse? Okay, well then we'll shut down.
I'll read it.
All right, who wants to read? Jesse, go ahead and read.
I'll read it.
Wait, Tuesday, did you say you wanted to read?
Yeah, I'll read it.
Get it, sister.
Vayomer Haish Naseu Mize Ki Shamati Omerim Nelecha Dotana Vayelech Yosef Ahar Ehab Vayim Saem Bedotan. No, Bedotan.
Excellent. I'm so glad that we read this verse. What's the name of the location?
Dothan.
Okay, Dotan or something like that.
Oh.
But based on this, what's the name of the location?
Okay.
Dotain. Dotain. Like there's a yod at the end. So there are so many words in Semitic languages where there's a either initial or final, sometimes even medial yod that simply goes missing at some point and leaves no trace. Possibly the word, definitely the word ach had a yod at the end. At least it shows up, has the decency to show up in the pronominal when there's a pronominal suffix, but some of them don't. Like one of the frustrating words for me is yad. I see 2 root letters. I don't know how many you see, but I only see 2. What was the third one? We can speculate. Maybe it was like this. Maybe there was a yod somewhere, but we just have no way to prove it anymore. Another one is like shana. When we see the word shana, we see that hey on the end, and we think, oh, well, that's a feminine marker. So what's the root? It's Shin Nun Yod. It's Shin Nun Yod, and we know that because it's related to the number Shnei, Shnayim. How? Why? How do we know these two are related? Well, because the agricultural year is divided into 2 parts in the Babylonian well, in the much older Akkadian culture, so a shana is that thing made up of two agricultural cycles. It's something that's two parts. And anyway, so there are lots of words where yods simply go missing. I'm so glad that we ran into this one where we have proof from the text that there used to be a yod there, but now it's not. Vayomer ha'ish, and the man said, Nasa'u mizeh. They traveled from this or from this place. Kishamati, for I heard. Omrim, they were saying. Nelcha, let us go. That's the cohortative. Dotaina, towards Dotan. There's a directional hey at the end. Vayelech Yosef, and Joseph walked or went. Achar Echav, after or towards after his brothers. Vayimtzaem, and he found them. Bedotan, in Dotan. Samuel, do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I would like you to help me with the pronunciation of the word midze. There is a shva, tsere above, and urug. So which one is silent?
You're saying this word I've circled here?
Yes.
What, oh, I see. Hang on. Okay, you're starting with the assumption that it's a shva when in fact shva shows up on the bottom of the word. When it's on top of the word, it's a cantillation mark. It shows up several times in this verse. And in fact, it showed up several times before. It's a I don't want to call it a super hard stop or pause, but it's probably like a level 2 stop or pause. So whenever you see this, just put a pause after it. Vayomer ha'ish nasanu mizeh. Stop. Kishamati omrim. Slight stop. So that it's a cantillation mark actually. And so the word is mizeh, and these are our vowels.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
I've made a couple of mistakes in the last three verses. We had the usage of li and lo, and my mind automatically goes to Jessup, Jessup command, because people are speaking, and I got it wrong. But
well, when there is a jussive, what will be the negative word used? It's not going to be lo, it'll be something else.
Al.
Al, right. Don't do something, we'll use this negative word al instead of this negative word, which is declarative. This is not going to happen. Please don't do such and such. There's one more negative word I can think of. Can anyone think of a third negative in Hebrew, a negative word?
No.
Bal.
Al.
Bal or bli or bilti. Has anyone ever heard the word before, Belial? Bliya'al is the Hebrew. Ya'al is worth. So Bliya'al, sons of Bliya'al, are sons of worthlessness. Not worth. Don't be one of them. All right, excellent. I'm so glad you all came out. Sorry for the time change. I hate daylight savings time, but here we are. And same time next week. I look forward to seeing you all then. Until that time, the hitraot, the shalom. If anyone wants to donate to the cause, you're more than welcome to do so. This is how you can do it. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Beautiful.